How and why this happened has been on the minds of NASCAR execs this offseason. How someone with 0 wins somehow takes the championship in a format where winning means more. Matt Crafton came in clutch when it mattered the most and exposed the system in the process. Before we get any further, let's take a look at the man behind the championship. In 2001, Matt Crafton entered the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series at the age of 24. He was one of ThorSport's first full-time drivers in the early 2000s, and out of the gate, he wasn't competing for championships. In fact, he was considered an underdog, and from 2001 to 2003, he would post points finishes of 12th, 15th, and 11th. One of the big teams took notice, and in 2004, Kevin Harvick tapped Crafton to drive his number 6 GM Goodrich Chevy. But even after a 5th place points finish and a season that saw him set career highs in top 5s, top 10s, and average finish, he was let go. Why? Because he didn't win. After being let go, he was welcomed back to ThorSport with open arms. For the next couple of seasons, he would put together consistent performances as he would score 2 top 10 points finishes in 3 years. Even with some of these stellar performances, the fact remained that in his first 7 seasons, he had yet to score a victory. Not only is consistency key, but persistence is key as well. At the age of 32, this long-awaited win came in 2008 at Charlotte. After this win, he would go on the best stretch of runs in his entire career up to this point. Over the next 5 seasons, from 2008 to 2012, he posted points finishes of 5th, 2nd, 4th, 8th, and 6th. Matt Crafton had proven with persistence and consistency that he was one of the most solid drivers in the Truck Series up to 2012. But yet, he hadn't been certified as a championship threat. 2013 was the year this all changed, where Crafton, after so many seasons of just straight up grind and consistency, was finally able to put together a championship season.
Matt Crafton will limp home not only your 2013 Drivers' Championship, but it looks as though he's one spot behind, potentially, that he needed to end up to get the Owners' Championship.
You are the freaking man. I'm sorry that thing wasn't any good, but God almighty. Woo! Yeah!
The old lovable underdog for so many seasons was finally a champion. Taking home a limped up truck and winning a championship with it in the final race when it counted the most added to his stature. Being able to barely lift up the championship trophy also made for a funny moment. While he was celebrating his championship, some major changes were going on at the top of NASCAR. 2014 would mark the first season that the Cup Series would introduce a brand new playoff format, entering the elimination style era. For the first time in the sport's storied history, a system had been put into place to where winning was key. Meanwhile, this had no effect on the Truck Series' current format, and Crafton took full advantage. From the get-go, it was evident that Crafton and his ThorSport 88 Menards team were on the right track to repeating. This marked the first season he scored multiple victories and also made history in the process. For the first time in series history, Crafton scored back-to-back championships. A feat that even the greatest truck drivers such as Mike Skinner, Ron Hornaday, Jack Sprague, and Johnny Benson couldn't achieve. Being able to hoist the championship trophy over his head for the first time, Crafton had it made. But coming 2015, this team would find out that nothing lasts forever. It was followed up by a 6-win season, the most of Matt Crafton's career. Unfortunately, in this format, Crafton wasn't the most consistent and would wind up 3rd in the standings. Very soon after, consistency would be a thing of the past in the Truck Series. 2016 would mark the first season the playoffs would be introduced. The execs up at NASCAR wanted the format in every series to ensure that every series ranging from the Trucks, Xfinity, and Cup has that Game 7 moment. It was either adapt or die, and one of the most consistent drivers in Truck Series history now had to find a way to win his 3rd championship in this format. At first, it wasn't looking to be a problem. He would go on to score 2 wins in 2016 and make the inaugural championship 4. He came up 4 spots short to Johnny Sauter, finishing 2nd in the standings. 2017 saw regression. He would make the championship four for the second season in a row, but only on one win, that coming at Eldora. He didn't even get a single win that season on pavement. He finished last in that season's Final Four, and come 2018, he would go winless for the first time in 5 years. Add to this a missed Final Four appearance for the first time in the Truck Series playoff era, and it looked as if Father Time had caught up with the 42-year-old Matt Crafton. But little did we know that heading into 2019, we would witness one of the most improbable championship runs in all of NASCAR history. This marked the dawn of a new era over at ThorSport as the team would switch from Toyota to Ford. During the 2019 regular season, Crafton wasn't a championship favorite, not even close. In fact, he was actually getting shown up by his ThorSport teammate Grant Enfinger. Enfinger, in a way, became the new Matt Crafton, as he would go winless during the regular season, but despite that, he would take home the regular season championship. The playoff field was set with multiple favorites in play, which didn't include Crafton. Beginning the playoffs in 6th, 11 points back, it was going to be an uphill battle.
Seeing right now out of Ross Chastain is called attack mode. That's what he calls it. He says he's referring to his owner, Al Neese, who tells the team attack, attack, attack. That is how we have to race. Ross Chastain went to the back and he's tearing through this field right now. 52 spinning on the track.
Oh, Matt Crafton and the 52 of Friesen. A little bit of contact there possibly, but Friesen certainly getting the worst of it.
The first two races of the first round confirmed in everyone's minds that Crafton wasn't a legit favorite. The controversy with Stuart Friesen was the highlight of these two races, as he would end up finishing 7th at Bristol and 11th at Canadian Tire. Even though he was sitting 4th, 5 points above the cut line, it was looking as if his teammates were ready to pounce. The first round cutoff at Vegas was where Grant Enfinger scored his second career win the year before, and a place where his other teammate Johnny Sauter has won. The unpredictability of motorsports. This is why we sit down and watch a full-length race for 2.5 to 3 hours. Every once in a while, you will see a wacky moment. And on Friday the 13th, this was evident.
Remember, he's a former smoke out of Enfinger's truck.
Grant Enfinger, one of our championship hopefuls, and his hopes maybe going up in smoke.
Oh, after the season he's had, he was a regular season point champion.
And a solid start to this race, and a really fast ThorSport number 98 Ford.
Expect the hood to come up on this truck right now as they try to diagnose it. Over the radio, crew chief Bruce said they're going to try to replace all the plug wires, check each one individually. They want Stuart Friesen to keep revving the engine so they can hear it change every time they pull a plug wire on and put it back on. Again, trying to diagnose the problem. Why exactly? They're down on power right now.
Johnny Sauter starting to, I think the 38.
The 88 and the 13 with problems.
You have to be kidding me.
Oh my goodness, teammates, ThorSport teammates, that would be 3 of the 4 ThorSport trucks with Enfinger already in the garage. And it didn't last long. Johnny Sauter.
By some divine miracle, 4 of the 8 Truck Series playoff contenders would go out with engine problems. Due to the misfortune of his teammates, Crafton would be the only ThorSport truck to advance, with both Grant Enfinger and Johnny Sauter being eliminated. Crafton would score the pole for the round of 6 opener at Talladega. The attitude of the second round was simple: survive and advance. Crafton played the conservative role, as he would lead the opening lap and wound up finishing 8th. Ending the race 1 point above the cut line, Crafton would have to keep this same strategy heading into Martinsville.
Well, the events unfolding here at Martinsville having a serious impact on the championship. Matt Crafton, you see his crew making a battery change. Crafton did not pit. He, Austin Hill, and Ross Chastain, the 3 championship contenders that stayed out on the track. Crafton would have been the race leader for this restart, but he lost power
in his truck.
We speculated that maybe he was shutting it off to try to save fuel, but whatever the case may be, if he was doing that, it would not refire. He was actually pushed back around to pit road by Wrecker, and now they've changed the battery.
It looked as if their mulligans had already been used. Crafton once again had power problems while competing at Martinsville. He wound up finishing 23rd, leaving him 9 points below the cut line. If he wanted to advance, he would have to beat the team that won the championship last year in Tory Racing and their new driver, Austin Hill. Throughout the race, Crafton was able to get some extra stage points, and by the time the final stage hit, he was only 2 points below the cut line. After the final restart, Crafton was able to slice and dice his way through the field while Austin Hill's truck began to fade. In the end, despite all of the craziness that went on during the playoffs for this team, they were able to secure the final spot in the Championship 4. A winless driver making the Final Four is nothing new. We saw this in the 2014 inaugural Final Four in the Cup Series when Ryan Newman nearly shocked the world. But a winless driver taking home one of the top 3 championships winless would be one of the most surreal championships in NASCAR history.
The championship on the line.
One final race. Tonight, a champion will be crowned. Friesen with that emphatic win. Ross Chastain winning at Gateway. Matt Crafton coming to the line and the lead.
Going to victory lane.
The stage was set for the 2019 Truck Series Championship. To be able to win, Crafton was going to have to fight adversity from the get-go. He was going to start 9th, the lowest of any Championship 4 driver, with Stuart Friesen winning the pole and Brett Moffitt and Ross Chastain starting in row 2. The stage was set for one of the biggest upset championship runs in NASCAR history.
It's the final race of the season. It's for the championship, and it's green at Homestead. First time for these drivers on this racetrack since early this morning. We've had heavy rain since. The crews have done a great job of getting it dry, and Friesen jumped to the front, but Chastain didn't waste much time passing him for the lead.
This is how this action's going to look all night long. Look at Matt Crafton. He knows he's got to go in a hurry. He threads the needle there, goes low, loses the nose of the truck, and gets loose. These guys will really battle the front end spill down in the center of these corners, not wanting to drift up the hill. Started way, way out back.
Crafton on the outside, taking a peek on Austin Hill. Chastain, Hill, and Moffitt, the only 3 leaders tonight. Crafton trying to add his name to the list.
Matt Crafton is saying, take that, boys. He's wanting to prove that he's going to be a championship contender and win this race. It drops up on the outside of Austin Hill.
Side by side, Crafton, a 2-time series champion. Hasn't won. He's the only one of the 4 championship contenders that has not gone to victory lane this season.
We talked about at the top of the show, he's had speed this year. He's had speed in the playoffs, just didn't get the finishes. Well, he's shown he's got speed here.
They've had their share of issues, some that you just happen to have during the course of a year, no fault of your own. Some have been their fault, as they have admitted, but Crafton and his crew chief, Junior Joyner, were very confident today that they could come out here and win this championship.
I love that guy right there. Junior Joyner's just so poised, so confident, believes in his driver, Matt Crafton, believes they can get the job done, and they're leading this race. But there's company coming, Phil. Austin Hill in second. Eckes, there's several trucks on the track that are faster than Crafton now. But if I'm Crafton with about a second lead, I'm running 90%. I'm not going to step over the line here. I'm not going to try to abuse my tires too much. I'm definitely not going to get into the wall. I've got some lead to give up.
Crafton, by the way, would be the first Truck Series champion to win the championship without winning a race in the season, if he would happen to win the championship tonight without winning the race.
I'm so happy for Matt Crafton. Hey, been here forever, talked about the fact that he's the underdog, and nobody really gave him a chance to win this championship until today, Phil. After those two practices this morning, there was a lot of crew chiefs down on pit road that says, the 88 he was one of the best trucks. If we could pick a favorite, it might be Matt Crafton. They are performing when it matters. This is an awesome night for that team.
This evening before the race, such a beautiful young lady, and was so proud of her daddy, and you could see her, just a big smile on her face. And her dad has made everyone smile in that camp tonight as he continues to pursue the lead. And meanwhile, the driver of the 88, Matt Crafton, chases him down in second, but Crafton in the lead as far as the championship is concerned. Austin Hill, back-to-back wins for Hattori Racing at Homestead, and Austin Hill gets his first Miami victory, and Matt Crafton wins his third Truck Series championship. The 100th win for Ford. Won the manufacturer, and those...
It's now 3 times. Welcome back, champ. Great job, guys. Checkered flag.
Those team members will never forget this night in South Florida.
Just like they won't forget that night in South Florida, us as fans will never forget this championship. To win the championship in a format where you are supposed to win, it is the most important thing to do, is unbelievable. Congratulations to Matt Crafton and this ThorSport 88 Menards team on breaking the system. And once again, that'll do it for another video. Thank you guys so much for watching. This is Black Flags Matter. Catch you next time.